Sometimes drivers lose control in the high-stakes world of Formula One, where tension, emotions, and adrenaline run high, creating some of the most memorable events in the history of the sport. These extreme situations have significantly changed world championships, race wins, and podium finishes. Join us as we dive deep into some of the most noteworthy fights and the events that preceded them. At the 1977 Canadian Grand Prix, James Hunt, who was well known for his fiery temperament and exuberant nature, had a notable outburst. Hunt and his McLaren teammate Jochen Mass collided as Hunt was fighting for the victory. Hunt attempted to pass Mass when the incident happened, veered onto the grass, lost control, and collided with the wall to finish the race. A marshal came over to help Hunt get away from his wrecked car and into safety. Frustrated and losing his temper, Hunt hit the marshal, sending him to the ground. It was startling that the marshal would suddenly become so emotional when all he was doing was trying to protect Hunt. The marshal had a cut on his jaw as a result of Hunt's actions, and he needed medical attention. Hunt's actions demonstrated the strong emotions and demands that Formula One drivers endure, even though he eventually apologized. Even though his actions were excessive, they contributed to his attraction and controversy within the sport. The 1982 German Grand Prix collision between Nelson Piquet and Eliseo Salazar is among the most notorious moments in Formula One history. Piquet tried to pass Salazar, who was driving for ATS while he was leading the race in his Brabham. Salazar did not slow down sufficiently at the chicane as Piquet attempted to overtake, resulting in a collision that ended Piquet's race. In front of onlookers and cameras, Piquet attacked Salazar with punches and kicks after becoming enraged. Salazar did not retaliate. He was probably too stunned to do so. Considering that Piquet had coached Salazar earlier in his career, this reaction was especially startling. Not only did the physical altercation make the incident legendary, but commentator Murray Walker's iconic response did as well. Tension and emotions were raised by the tragedies and accidents that had already marred the race weekend. Gilles Villeneuve had passed away only a few months earlier, and Didier Pironi had crashed out of contention during this race's qualifying. These incidents probably added to Piquet's agitated state of mind and violent reaction. One of the most well-known rivalries in Formula One history peaked at the Japanese Grand Prix in 1989 as well as the Grand Prix of 1990 between Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost. Co-workers Prost and Senna from McLaren collided at the Suzuka chicane in 1989. Senna finished the race but was eventually disqualified for cutting the chicane, while Prost retired. Prost was awarded the championship as a result. The rivalry resurfaced with even more fervor the next year. Senna suffered a second collision in Suzuka, this time while driving for McLaren, as Prost had switched to Ferrari. Senna intentionally collided with Prost at the first corner this time, guaranteeing that neither could go on and giving Senna the victory. These occurrences brought to light the fierce rivalry between drivers and the lengths they would go to in order to win a championship. The Senna-Prost fights are renowned for their extreme drama, as well as the moral dilemmas they brought up regarding sportsmanship and the bounds of acceptable behavior in competition. The 1998 Belgian Grand Prix is remembered for its wild beginning and exciting moments. One of the most famous races in Formula One history started off with a crazy multi-car collision. Unrelenting rain created hazardous conditions that resulted in one of the most chaotic Formula One starts ever. In the middle of the mayhem, Damon Hill and his partner finished 1-2 to give Jordan his first ever victory. But the moment between Michael Schumacher and David Coulthard stands out the most. With a dominating 30-second lead over Hill, Schumacher tried to pass Coulthard, who was a backmarker at the time. Driving for McLaren, Coulthard decelerated to allow Schumacher to pass. Schumacher, however, was forced to retire from the race after failing to spot Coulthard in time due to low visibility and heavy rain. The collision damaged Schumacher's Ferrari's front right suspension, possibly eliminating his chances of winning the championship. Schumacher was so enraged that he hurried back to the pits and went straight to the McLaren garage to face Coulthard. There was a heated exchange as Schumacher accused Coulthard of attempting to murder him. Later on, Coulthard narrated how Schumacher had threatened him, an allegation that heightened the drama surrounding the incident. The extreme pressure and intense emotions drivers face are brought to light by this brawl, which is still one of the most talked about incidents in Formula One history. During the 2017 Azerbaijan Grand Prix, Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton got into another big fight. Vettel crashed into the back of Hamilton's Mercedes because he thought Hamilton had brake tested him when he was behind the safety car. Vettel angrily pulled alongside Hamilton and purposefully swerved into him. Vettel was hit with a 10-second stop-and-go penalty and 3 penalty points on his super license by the FIA. Vettel still finished ahead of Hamilton despite this, but the event caused a lot of debate. There was clearly animosity between the two drivers, as Hamilton adamantly denied putting Vettel through the brake test. This incident is a perfect illustration of how fierce competition and huge stakes can create combustible situations when they come together. It also demonstrated the thin line that separates disrespectful conduct from competitive hostility. Max Verstappen lost his composure during the 2018 Brazilian Grand Prix in a stunning way. Leading the race, Verstappen crashed with Esteban Ocon, who was attempting to unlap himself. After a fantastic race, Verstappen looked certain to win when Ocon tried to pass him on newer tires. Lewis Hamilton gained the lead after Verstappen spun due to the collision between the two cars. Verstappen made it very evident over the radio that he was upset with Ocon and called him a fool. Verstappen challenged Ocon in the weigh-in area following the race. The near fight was caught on camera, showing Verstappen repeatedly pushing Ocon. Ocon was given a 10-second stop-and-go penalty by the FIA for the collision, while Verstappen was sentenced to 2 days of community service. The incident highlighted Verstappen's fiery temperament and the intense pressure drivers face in crucial moments. It also underscored the importance of managing emotions even when the stakes are incredibly high. Valtteri Bottas and George Russell engaged in a dramatic altercation during the 2021 Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix at Imola. Mercedes driver Bottas was having trouble in the race and ended up in P9. Russell was in P10 and doing quite well, especially when you consider the Williams car's relative performance. The two cars crashed as Russell made a fast pass attempt to pass Bottas. The incident happened when Russell tried to pass Bottas at around 200 miles per hour on a wet section of the course. Both cars crashed hard into the barriers and scattered debris all over the track in the brutal accident. Russell's Williams even had a brief moment of flight before landing. In the aftermath, Russell stormed over to Bottas's car and slapped his helmet in anger, blaming Bottas for the crash. Bottas responded with a middle finger, further intensifying the situation. Both drivers blamed each other for the incident, and the tension was palpable, especially since Russell was seen as a potential replacement for Bottas at Mercedes the following year. The incident was a stark reminder of the fine line between competitive aggression and losing control. These incidents show the extreme demands that Formula One drivers endure and how even the most accomplished athletes may lose their composure under duress. One of the things that makes Formula One so fascinating to watch is the drama, the passion, and the sheer intensity of these situations. They act as a reminder of the human factor in an activity where accuracy and cutting-edge technology rule. These instances, whether they include rivals clashing, a run-in with a backmarker, or an altercation with a teammate or marshal, have a lasting effect on the sport and its history. The world of Formula One requires not just skill and speed, but also emotional control and poise under extreme strain. Even if they are dramatic, these occurrences show how passionate and committed the drivers are to reaching their limits and winning glory. With that being said, which one of these incidents did you find the most memorable? Let us know in the comments down below, and we'll see you in the next video.